The morning of December 25th dawned bright and cold, with snow blanketing the small town of Greystone. Children rushed out of their homes, their laughter mingling with the crisp winter air, as the town came alive with the spirit of Christmas. In the town square, a massive evergreen stood adorned with twinkling lights and glittering ornaments, its branches weighed down by the hopes and dreams of a close-knit community. Among the festive crowd, a mysterious man stood out. Tall and impeccably dressed in a tailored coat, he exuded an air of quiet authority. His presence was both intriguing and unsettling. Few people recognized him as Jonathan Alaric, a reclusive billionaire known for his eccentric philanthropy. It was whispered that he had grown up in Greystone but had left decades ago under tragic circumstances. Now, he had returned, bearing gifts. Word spread quickly. Jonathan had announced a surprise giveaway for the children of the town. Every child who gathered at the square that afternoon would receive a specially prepared Christmas gift. The townsfolk were thrilled, viewing his gesture as a blessing. By noon, the square was packed with eager children and their parents. A line snaked around the towering Christmas tree as Jonathan and his assistants handed out brightly wrapped presents from a large, ornate sleigh. Each gift was tailored to the recipient's age and interests, a detail that impressed and puzzled the townsfolk. How could he have known so much about their children? "Merry Christmas, young man," Jonathan said with a warm smile as he handed a toy train set to 6-year-old Tommy, who beamed with delight. "I hope it brings you endless joy." One by one, the children received their gifts. Some opened them immediately, squealing with delight, while others clutched theirs tightly, eager to savor the anticipation. Jonathan watched with a contented smile, his eyes glistening with emotion. As the last gift was distributed, Jonathan addressed the crowd. "This town gave me everything when I had nothing. Today I repay that debt. Enjoy these gifts, and may this Christmas be unforgettable." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Jonathan quietly slipped away, disappearing into the snowy streets. That evening, tragedy struck. Reports began to trickle in. First one, then another, and another. Children were falling gravely ill. Symptoms ranged from severe nausea to unrelenting seizures. The town's small clinic was overwhelmed as panicked parents brought their children in, clutching the very gifts they had received that afternoon. Within hours, the first deaths were reported. By midnight, the once joyful town was plunged into chaos. The authorities were called in, and an emergency investigation was launched. Paramedics, police, and even specialists from neighboring cities arrived to assist. It became horrifyingly clear that the gifts were the common link. The following day, the local news reported that 30 children had died, and dozens more were critically ill. The once festive square was now a scene of despair, with grieving parents demanding answers and the community shattered by the unimaginable loss. Investigators worked tirelessly, analyzing the contents of the gifts. Many of them contained toys, books, or sweets. However, hidden within the wrapping paper and boxes were small vials of an unknown substance. Tests revealed it to be a highly toxic chemical, undetectable by sight or smell. Suspicion immediately fell on Jonathan Alaric. But when police searched for him, they found no trace. His mansion on the outskirts of town was deserted, the gates padlocked, and the windows dark. His assistants, who had helped distribute the gifts, were also missing. The townsfolk were left grappling with unanswered questions. Why would Jonathan, who had seemed so genuine, orchestrate such a heinous act? Had someone else tampered with the gifts? And why target the children? In the weeks that followed, rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed Jonathan had been seeking revenge for a childhood incident that had driven him away from Greystone. Others believed he had been coerced by shadowy forces. Conspiracy theories flourished, but the truth remained elusive. Months later, as winter gave way to spring, a letter arrived at the town's post office, addressed to the mayor. The envelope bore no return address, but the handwriting was unmistakably Jonathan's. It read, "To the people of Greystone. What transpired on Christmas Day was never my intention. The gifts were meant to bring joy, not sorrow. I was betrayed by those I trusted most, who harbored malice I failed to see. I have carried the weight of this tragedy every moment since, and though I cannot undo the harm, I vow to seek justice for your children. Forgive me if you can. Jonathan Alaric. The letter provided little solace to the grieving families, but reignited the search for Jonathan. Authorities followed countless leads, but he was never found. To this day, the events of that Christmas remain shrouded in mystery. The townsfolk rebuilt their lives, but the memory of that fateful day lingers, a haunting reminder of how swiftly joy can turn to despair.